Welcome to the Post Ride Podcast. Lee Conn, Ryan Lowis, and myself discuss our amazing motorcycle trip through Spain in late October and early November 2022. This is episode 2. The next morning, we did an e-bike tour.
Yeah.
Don't you want to take a picture of this beautiful park? Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Sure.
It is quite beautiful. Okay, so and here also
Of Central Madrid. It was interesting. I thought we would cover more ground on the e-bikes. We really didn't cover as much as I thought. When we got over the Placio, it was a little hilly, but other than that, it was pretty flat. There wasn't a lot of need for an e-bike, I don't think.
this, of course, is prior to picking up the bikes on Monday. So this was a pleasant Sunday.
One of the highlights of the tour, there was two highlights of that e-bike tour for me. The Royal Palace of Madrid. He took us to a nice little overview, and I've got some shots of that place. It looked quite beautiful. What did he say? There was 1,200 rooms, I think, in there or something like that. And then he brought us to the San Miguel market, if you'll recall. So that was like an open air food court kind of thing. That place had the most spectacular little dishes. We had some like little salmon tapas, and then I think you guys had some, maybe a couple little burgers that they had.
Don't forget the pork. We had a pork.
Yeah, a lot of pork. But damn it, that was good, right?
It was incredible. It was touristy, but it was done well. So it's okay. I mean, they were really good tapas. It was totally packed. That was one of the highlights of that whole thing, was just getting to stop there and have lunch.
Yeah, it's just so satisfying to go in and just try different little things and just try to see what the locals are going for. What's a long line? Get in that line, because those people know what they're talking about.
That's right. We didn't read a bunch of books and plan out a bunch of stuff in Madrid. Ryan said, let's go find the store. We went to find that store, and we walked around that night before on the Saturday, tired and just stumbling around. Then we got on the e-bikes. We went on the official tour. We'd already seen 80% of what we saw the night just walking around. After the bike tour, we went and saw the Naval Museum. My favorite thing there was the map that Columbus brought back of the Americas, which was, it's like seeing the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence. Here's the real deal map that they brought back.
That little naval museum, it was €3 each, so it was damn near free. And it was outstanding. And there was a couple of things that I've reflected a lot on that museum, because one thing was they had, I don't know, what do you think, 50 of the model ships? I don't know how many. Let's just say there was tons of model ships, but some of those model ships were not models made after the ships. Some of those were the original models that they were going to build the ships to. So that took me a minute to figure that out. They were going to go show the Queen.
Halfway through that, I realized these aren't just replicas of what your money's going for, the engineers and the builders and the people building it, so they can see it.
There was something else there that I've thought about a lot since then. They had all the bubble sextants, and they had all the compasses and the whole history of naval guidance and how these people navigated the globe. Spain was a key part of that. They ruled the oceans. They were the huge armadas of Spain. There was a device by which they could charge the magnetism of the compass needles. I've researched that quite a bit. There's something called a lodestone, but the lodestone is the only naturally occurring permanent magnet. And they really couldn't navigate until you could use a compass. You could create a little iron needle, but unless it was magnetized, it wouldn't do anything. These mariners of the 14th and 15th and 16th century, they had to magnetize the needles. And one way was to get a lodestone. Lodestone only happens when lightning actually hits pyrite, which generally what you think of as a magnet. It's only found real shallow in the crust of the earth, only where lightning could hit it. These kings would give them lodestones. They're very hard to get. They're very rare. They could charge up those needles so they could continue to use their compasses. And I think there's something really interesting about that idea of the lodestone. Maybe there's some kind of an analogy to patriarch or matriarch of the family, where the kids come in and they get remagnetized, right? By like the core thing is the lodestone, or maybe it's the boss, the leader of the company, where the people come in and he loads them up with their direction and off they go. I thought that was really interesting, because one of the machines they had there was a machine by which they could charge magnets. I just thought that was cool, because I've never really thought much about how these guys were navigating around.
And here we are in Spain navigating around. We're so dependent on our phones for GPS signal and good maps and all that stuff. These guys were sailing off the edge of the earth, and then they had to get back to tell them when they found something. The amount of effort and risk is just insane compared to what we're used to. It was really cool. They had some of the first torpedoes and just all sorts of interesting stuff in that Naval Museum. It was really worth it. And being guys, I don't know, I don't necessarily want to just go stare at portraits of people. We were walking out of there and we went over to the Vincennes Toros. It was a chocolate shop from the 1700s, all kinds of chocolates. Lee got us like this cup of chocolate that we drank. It was so good.
I've been in a number of these sort of fine chocolate shops, and usually at the back or in some little side area, they will just have pure liquefied chocolate that they will pour into a Dixie cup for you if you really want to just get straight to the heart of the matter.
Then we got on bird scooters. They had the bird scooters there, and we covered the territory. We did way more than the e-bike. We rode the scooters down towards the river. There was this gigantic Madrid sign along the river. Ryan talked to some random lady and her dog. Got some pictures. Remember that, Ryan?
I believe it was.
We went to the Casa de Campo park, this big park right here, and there's this pond inside of here. We rode all through here, and then we had light dinner kind of stuff. We kept trying to have dinner at 6 o'clock, and that's not when you eat dinner in Spain. You eat dinner at 8:30. Got to wait for the pizza guy to show up.
Yeah, it took us a minute to figure out that when we kept asking him, can we get some dinner? And we're looking at us like, yeah, no, you don't eat dinner before 9 o'clock.
I think that was one of my funnest non-motorcycle things that we did, was get on the bird scooters in Madrid and ride around like maniacs. Lee certainly rides a bird scooter like a maniac.
We rode all over, though. I mean, sitting here looking at the miles, we rode the hell out of those things.
We ate at a fancy restaurant near the center, near the park.
They didn't even bring me food. Remember that? And then we were like, maybe you guys ate, and they like literally didn't bring me anything.
I was in this area because we could see the arch that was covered up by a gigantic picture. So you couldn't really actually see the arch.
Yeah.
It's under restoration right now. So they had a big photograph in front of it. We were at one of these restaurants right here. It was around this circle.
I'll challenge you a little bit on that. Those steaks were good. Remember that?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did have good steak. That
The
was
meat
good.
was good.
Yeah.
They just
It wasn't
they just forgot to
terrible.
bring you none.
Then we went back to our Hotel La Finca. It was another big day in Madrid, and we had fun on our e-bike tour and a blast on the bird scooters. Hey, come back for the next episode as we pick up our BMW motorcycles from IMT Bike Rentals and head north to Santander.